Cristiano Ronaldo. He gets his 900th, international goal, the most ever in terms of competitive matches. 62 more than Messi. It's crazy. Before we talk about the future, would you like to wax philosophical about that achievement in itself?
Well, just the number is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And you do the math, right? And say over 10 years, that's 90 goals over 10 years, right? But just continue to do the math, because the productivity has been over 20 years, and how consistent he has been able to put goals in the back of the net. And what drives Cristiano Ronaldo, we'll never know. We assume that we have an idea as to what is it that he has within him to drive him forward and to push him, and the hunger and the ambition. Some people would say that's selfish. I would say, look, once you get to this sort of level and you're pushing yourself to the limit and you want to see the best version of yourself, most players would peak 3, 4, maybe 5 years, and then after that, you see a decline. What has been amazing about Cristiano Ronaldo is that he seemingly has been at his peak for so long, and yet when we feel that he's down from that level, and we have been critical of Cristiano Ronaldo because we sort of feel like maybe he's holding Portugal back, he's like, yeah, listen, that's 900 goals I scored. So how about a little respect? How about a little appreciation? And you can't help but be amazed by the amount of goals that is. And we sort of take it for granted. He's going to score 45 goals, 50 goals every season. That's fine. That's what Cristiano does. That's what Messi does. No. This is not by coincidence. This is not by accident. This is by work. This is by dedication. This is by sacrifice. This is by discipline, hunger. You've been at the very top of this career for a long, long time, and you continue to push yourself. It's a hunger and a determination that I don't think any contract can guarantee. This is something that you have deep within you, and that as he got older and he continued to evolve as a player, the productivity was still there.
It is truly astounding. Not just the number, but to your point, to keep yourself at the absolute pinnacle of this sport. Sometimes pushed by Messi too. That battle between those two, making sure that they be the absolute best for 20 years is really insane. That said, Father Time is undefeated. It's trite, but it is true, and we saw it. We saw it when they played the higher level teams in the Euros this past summer. You could see it a little bit in the game yesterday too, a little bit. He's later in the game. He's not pressing the ball. He's not defending at any level. He can get it out wide. You're not petrified of him out wide. It's when he's in the box and balls are played in, him using his movement and his intelligence. That said, Roberto Martinez has this team poised to be the 2026 World Cup. They're loaded with talent. We know this. What's the situation here? Because you mentioned he's going to keep working. He's not stepping aside. He's not like retiring. He's going to have to be moved aside. Will Roberto Martinez move him to the side, or should he? I should ask you that.
Well, I've been saying really for the last couple of years that it was time. Even actually, when Roberto Martinez first took over, I said back then, the first big decision he's going to have to make is to tell Cristiano thanks but no thanks, because the presence of Cristiano Ronaldo, while it can elevate the team, it can also hold the team back. Not because of something that Cristiano is doing or not doing. It's just if he's on the team, there's an expectation that he's also going to be on the field. And when he's on the field, as you just mentioned, at this point in his career, he's unable to do the things that are required from his position. And so the team starts playing for him, to him, around him. And I think it limits the talent level of this group. Now, that's just my opinion, my observation. Some would say, well, look, he's scoring goals. But you mentioned there in the intro to the conversation, you mentioned there the fact that in player against higher opposition, better opposition, that's when you start realizing that perhaps the game at this point is no longer to the level to where he needs it to be in order to be consistently productive at the highest level against the best teams, the best opposition in the world. And so to your question about the 2026 World Cup, as we spin it forward, he's not, as any of us can certify and confirm, we're not getting any younger, right? And neither is he. And while he may be in best physical condition than a 41-year-old can be, that and that's great. That doesn't mean that he's in the best physical condition that you need to be in order to be successful at the World Cup level in the latter stages of that competition. So the decision for me for Roberto Martinez should have been made a long time ago. He didn't, and now you have this really uncomfortable position of like, what do you do with Cristiano? And every time that he's asked about it, he's kind of like, no, Cristiano's a pleasure to have around. I'm sure he is. But guess what? If you sit him down, if you put him on the bench, guess where the cameras are going every time something happens in the attack or doesn't happen in the attack? Well, you got Cristiano there. Why don't you use him? And then when you put him out on the field and he's not moving nearly as well as he once did, it's like, well, why you have him on the field? You got better options on the bench. And so there is no right answer for Roberto Martinez, but he brought the situation upon himself when at the very beginning he should have cut ties clean. He didn't, and now we're in this sort of in-between, this purgatory world in which we hope that Cristiano can score the goals and we hope that Portugal can win the games so that Roberto Martinez can say, I had the right guy in place all along.
We have all the evidence out here already. This is the problem. What you're describing of the cameras going to him, we saw that in the Qatar knockout stages. When Santos put him to the bench, we saw that materialize. We saw what happened if you do play him at the Euros, which he said a European Championship is the same as the World Cup. I know you disagree with that, as do I. But we just saw that in this past summer, what it looks like at the highest level. This seemed like an obvious time. You want to give him his 900th goal, give him all the flowers. After this break, if Roberto Martinez doesn't do it now, I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's going to let it linger till the World Cup. If he can go at 41 years old, he'll be 41 and almost a half when we kick off that World Cup in 2026. I don't think he's going to stop. But if you give him the 900 goals in the next international break, you say, hey, we're good here. We can move on. That helps everybody. I don't see him doing it, but it seemed like this is it. This is the last chance you have a clean break. After this, it's going to be more and more drama. I don't get it. It's where we're at.
Well, it seemed like your clean break conversation was crossing over into real life there.
I'm trying to find a rationale for him. I'm like, okay, you didn't want to do it when you came in. You didn't want to do it after the Euros. You want to do it after 900 goals. Like, this seems like it's the Alamo. It's either you're defending, you're doing it now, or it's a wrap. So
all I would say is that I think at this point, Roberto Martinez has made it very clear that he doesn't want to be that guy. The guy that told Cristiano thanks but no thanks. And it doesn't have to be that way. That's the other thing. It doesn't have to be thanks but no thanks. You can make this a processional if you so desire. You can treat this and massage it correctly and still pay homage to the star and the legend that is Cristiano Ronaldo. And you appeal to his ego and you say, Cristiano, listen, you can still be an important part of this group and you can help this group in different ways. We just think that now we're in a position in which we need to give this guy an opportunity and this guy an opportunity, and we need to do it differently and so on and so forth. And there are ways in which you can appeal to his ego and where perhaps Cristiano says himself, hey, I see the big picture here. That may not happen, and that may be unrealistic. But that's when you have to have a manager that says, enough is enough. And how do you go about doing that, I think, is the tricky part. And Roberto Martinez doesn't seem to be the guy that wants to take that head on.